In the middle of a meeting that we were having at Bankless, we interrupt the meeting because Eric Balachunas, who knows a thing or two about the ETFs, is one of the two quote unquote ETF boys, ETF guys at the at Bloomberg. Yeah, the Bloomberg bros, the ETF bros, tweets out update. James Seyfert, the other ETF bro, and I are increasing our odds of spot Ether ETF approval to 75%, up from 25%. Hearing chatter this afternoon that the SEC could be doing a 180 on this increasingly political issue. So now everyone is scrambling, like everyone else assumed they'd be denied. See Nate's tweet below for proper order of events. And so this has got to be a reaction to SAB 121, the 60 to 38 vote with a meaningful amount of high-ranking Democrats defecting from Biden's stated policy of the fact that he's going to veto SAB 121. Many Democrats nonetheless disregarded that and voted to repeal SAB 121, indicating that not all of the Democratic Party are in alignment with being anti-crypto. As a result of that, it seems that's speculation, but that's a pretty.
I think. Look, he said increasingly political pressure. This is what we've said.
And so something is going on behind the scenes. Eric and James would know about the SEC and the ETH ETF being approved.
Yes.
To me, like, they are upping it to 75%, which means, of course, there's a 1 in 4 chance that it's getting denied. In my opinion, the fact that this is happening
it's happening now.
It's pretty binary.
It's
is like facts. Very bullish.
So Thursday, May 23rd is when the SEC has to either approve or deny it. Okay, so it's Monday right now. So the fact that it's happening now tells you something. And both Eric and James, they're sources for all of this. Basically, all along, they've been saying the same message. If it was going to get approved toward the end of May, we would have seen it in the paperwork. Yeah. They monitor the docs, they monitor the filings, they sort through like the sifting of everything that's going on in like the filings. They keep track of it. And their constant refrain has been, there's no way it's getting approved. Right. Like under 25% odds. In fact, David, let's go to James's Twitter right now, because I recall like seeing earlier just today that like, look at this. This is from May 17th. All right, this is not today, but he said, it's just not happening, guys. Talking about the Ethereum ETF. And
which is an accurate take for the data that he had at the time, probably.
Exactly, because they haven't seen anything come through. But this was kind of the Hail Mary pass, like the if that we talked about on the roll-up last week. We said if, and this is a big if Biden and the Democrats wake up at the 11th hour and realize anti-crypto Gensler is about to lose them the White House, they may pressure Gensler to achieve. Basically, politics trumps all, in particularly in an election year. And this is what Eric is saying, basically. It could be political pressure that is motivating Gensler and the SEC to actually approve. Now, again, we don't have 100% certainty here, but what we're taking from Eric and James is that they are seeing documents move. They're seeing like good signs, paper filing at this 11th hour. And what else could that mean? So they have increased the odds of approval by over 200% right now.
Yeah, up from 25%, which was very low. Probably even, I think people were counting for even lower than that, up to 75%. To me, this is binary, right? If it is indeed political pressure, then it is getting approved, and it's getting approved in the final hour because the Biden administration has realized that it's a close election and there is enough of a crypto vote out there to be meaningful. And they want to be reelected more than they care about denying the spot Ether ETF. Can we pull up in the KRAKEN price chart so we can look at the price of ETH right now?
Please, yes.
When ETH pumps, it pumps in slow motion.
Well, actually, this is all we got.
Well, that's a 1 day candle. Let's shorten it down to the 15-minute candles on the left side.
Thanks to KRAKEN for the charts.
Yeah, beautiful,
by the way.
beautiful.
There you go.
Okay,
that's what we like.
Whenever I have seen Ether pump, ever, it always pumps slowly over a long period of time.
Because this market hates
it has not gone down since like this news got improved. So this is like the market is currently digesting this. We are currently on the fourth 15-minute candle.
Here. Yeah. What's that?
Well, that's on the 15 minutes. To me, like we are currently pricing in $3,430 on the ETH chart. To me, we are if it's getting approved, we are so far away from actual meaningful price equilibrium.
Like, this
on
is so
thing.
cheap.
This is so dumb. Like, we are not done yet.
We got
like,
12% pump.
12% pump
That's a
on an
baby
ETH
pump.
ETF for approval. This is like 1% if approved. This is at like 1% priced in. Like,
Not
there's just
financial
no
advice.
way. Not financial advice.
David is saying buy now, but not financial advice.
Somebody might suggest that.
I mean, okay, so the price is pumping. Let's go back to James Seyffert's tweet, because you read Eric Balchunas. He says, things are taking a turn for the better. Spot Ethereum ETF approvals this week, upping our odds to 75%. He says this. Never going to hear the end of this.
That they're not hacked.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah, he had to confirm he's not hacked. Never going to hear the end of this from the .eth people in my replies if this turns out to be true. But it's what we're hearing from multiple sources. Should see a bunch of filings over the coming days if we're correct. I will know that both David and I reached out to James and Eric, and I don't think they can actually, we invited them to come on the live stream. And by the way, James, Eric, if you guys are listening, come on the live stream. Let's tell us what you know. We got the sense that they actually can't reveal more than what they've already revealed on Twitter at this point.
They work for Bloomberg. They have to push it through Bloomberg, their media organization.
Yes. And also, I think that there's probably, this is happening so last minute, they're still trying to figure out like what exactly is going on. But you're like, glad they got this this tweet out. David, is this a little life on the ratio here?
A little bit. God, that's ratio? So low. An ETH ETF approval with the ETH Bitcoin ratio below 0.05 is insane. You know that the market isn't even pricing this in appropriately. When Polymarket, I think you have that tab ready. Polymarket is pricing it in at a 50%. Hit refresh and then hit like the 1 day time.
This is the Polymarket, the prediction market odds of approval of Ethereum ETF approved by May 30th.
Oh, okay. So it is getting up to 75%. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So like basically this information is informed by the Bloomberg ETF people.
Look, dude, it was 13% this morning.
13% up to 75%, approaching 75%, currently at 69%. Nice. Also Eleanor Terrett, who is another like commentator on the markets and crypto news. She says this is her as a primary source now, saying an issuer, one of the ETF issuer sources, tell me that things are evolving in real time. So like BlackRock, Bitwise, Fidelity, they are reacting right now in real time. Anyone who works at one of those companies right now is currently in their Slack channel, like asking what the F is going on. Like, what do we need to change about our ETH ETF like application? Like, what's going on? Are we going to get approved? I'm sure the SEC office is also freaking out right now. Shout out Gary Gensler, who I'm sure is watching this channel. I'm sure you're freaking out. Yeah. So like,
what do you mean freaking out? I mean, I think he's probably pretty calculated in this. He probably got some phone calls over the weekend and late last week. Who knows how this works behind the scenes, but yeah, there's political pressure. Okay. So the reason I'm in a collared shirt, by the way, is just like, I know you guys think I usually dress like this. David switched. I didn't get a chance to switch. Is because earlier today we had an episode recording with Representative Patrick McHenry. So this is a former chair of the House, interim chair of the House, I should say, and a crypto advocate. So, and he was talking to us about the political pressure that's happening in Washington. Basically, DC has just woken up and they're realizing right before the 2024 elections, major presidential election, probably a historic election, that the crypto populace has a chance of swaying election outcomes at this point in time, which is absolutely crazy because like 20% of people in swing states are potentially crypto voters and care what politicians think about crypto. And so what's happening is last week and then also this week, basically politicians are having to go on the record as to whether they're pro-crypto or anti-crypto. The SAB 121 repeal was them going on the record. And you saw even Senate Majority Lead, Chuck Schumer, the most Democrat of Democrats, forsook the White House and against their policy, and he actually voted pro crypto. And so there's another bill going from the House this week that Patrick McHenry is talking about, which is called Fit 21. And this is more pro-crypto legislation. It's going to be yet another opportunity, maybe even a bigger opportunity for politicians to get on the record and say whether they're pro-crypto or anti-crypto. And he was very clear that like this has become an actual election issue in DC, and politicians are waking up to it.
And not just an election issue. People have been saying crypto is now a partisan issue. It's now like the right versus the left. But what we saw with the SAB 121 bill is it's actually splitting the Democratic Party, where you have the establishment, like older generation Democrats, the Biden, the Warrens, the Genslers, as the anti-crypto party, but the younger Democrats and like many of those people not in those circles as like pro-crypto. So it's basically the entire Republican Party pro-crypto, younger Democrats pro-crypto, and the current Biden administration as anti-crypto. And so the Biden administration realizes that they're on an island with not very many voters in an election year, in a contested election. So like it's a simple calculus.
Can we just take it in for a minute of just like, if this is how it happens, this would be the most crypto thing ever.
This timeline is fantastic.
Which is basically everyone expected the SEC to deny it. It was just deny. Guys, they have lawsuits against 5 crypto companies. Joe Lubin just came on the Bankless podcast 3 weeks ago and is like, they're out to get Ethereum. Right? They're looking at the GitHubs. They're trying to make the case that Ethereum itself is a security. Is all of this evidence, and he said there's no chance that they'll approve it. And now potentially, again, we don't know for sure about this, but potentially this could be approved. This would be the most crypto thing ever if this happened, David.
Yeah, the timeline, I think, is like pretty perfect. Mike Ippolito was calling for like ETH sentiment bottom calls just last week. ETH sentiment just like in the absolute like dumpster, like just vibes, just really bad.
What was that? Okay, so I was barely paying attention to this on like crypto Twitter, but it just like felt very much that I mean, people were blaming Farcaster. That
the Ethereum leadership, Ethereum thought leaders just have like abandoned Twitter. They're all on Farcaster now. No one is left on Twitter defending ETH sentiment.
The narrative,
the narrative is like dog shit. Yeah, like meme coins are on Solana. ETH's not getting its ETF. Like all this kind of stuff. We actually have a bunch of these tweets talking about this, like lined up. We got some tweets from Eric Connor. We got some tweets from Jake Chervisnky. We got James Safer talking about how the .eths were wish casting. Then we also got some technical analysis, not from me, but from other people who I trust that I want to pull up on the screen. And then we got some gifs about Anthony Sassano. So we're going to pull up all of these tweets and more. But first, a moment to talk about some of these fantastic sponsors that make this show possible. If you want a crypto trading experience backed by world-class security and award-winning support teams, then head over to Kraken, one of the longest-standing and most secure crypto platforms in the world. Kraken is on a journey to build a more accessible, inclusive, and fair financial system, making it simple and secure for everyone, everywhere, to trade crypto. Kraken's intuitive trading tools are designed to grow with you, empowering you to make your first or your 100th trade in just a few clicks. And there's an award-winning client support team available 24/7 to help you along the way, along with a whole range of educational guides, articles, and videos. With products and features like Kraken Pro and Kraken NFT Marketplace and a seamless app to bring it all together, it's really the perfect place to get your complete crypto experience. So check out the simple, secure, and powerful way for everyone to trade crypto, whether you're a complete beginner or a seasoned pro. Go to kraken.com/bankless to see what crypto can be. Not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss. Have you ever felt that the tools for developing decentralized applications are too restrictive and fail to leverage advancements from traditional software programming? There's a wide range of expressive building blocks beyond conventional smart contracts and Solidity development. Don't waste your time building the basics from scratch, and don't limit the potential of your vision. CARTESI provides powerful and scalable solutions for developers that supercharge app development. With the CARTESI virtual machine, you can run a full Linux OS and access decades of rich code libraries and open source tooling for building in Web3. And with CARTESI's unique rollup framework, you'll get real-world scaling and computation. No more competing for block space. So, if you're a developer looking to push the boundaries of what's possible in Web3, CARTESI is now offering up to $50,000 in grants. Head over to CARTESI's grant application page to apply today. And if you're not a developer, those with staked CTSI can take part in the governance process and vote on whether or not a proposal should be funded. Make sure you're vote ready by staking your CTSI before the votes open. Launching a token? Worried about the IRS? Talk to TOKU for 5 minutes to learn how to save hundreds of thousands of dollars for you, your team, and your investors. Now, if you do an initial consultation, TOKU will cover the cost of your token valuation, which is what you need for your launch. So don't wait. Reach out to the team right now at team@toku.com. That's team@toku.com. The new meme is that goddamn .eths are about to become insufferable again. If you don't know what a .eth is, that's somebody on Twitter. That's the Ethereum tribe on Twitter. People who have .eth in their name, as you can see, that's what I have. As a CryptoPunk .eth, I would call myself an archetype of a .eth on Twitter. And this is just like, the sentiment is going to shift. with the spot ETH ETF, I know you know this, Ryan. If the spot ETH ETF gets approved, the market is so underweight ETH. It's been underweight ETH this entire bull market. The market became overweight ETH in the bear market because it was like the flight to safety. ETH and Bitcoin performed shoulder to shoulder in the 2022 decline of crypto prices. But since the bull market has resumed, like just people are already overexposed because of the safe haven that ETH was. And in the bull market, people were dispersed away from ETH. Now, like the market is completely underexposed to ETH. People have priced in an ETF disapproval. Meme coins are on Solana. Bitcoin has the spot ETF approval. So people, and like ETH has all the regulatory pressure. Like ETH has all the lawsuits. Like the Department of Justice is going after applications on Ethereum. And so like I think the sentiment pendulum shift is going to swing so strongly just because it's so underexposed. The market is so underexposed to ETH.
It's going to feel like whiplash, right? I think there's going to be a lot of ETH bulls that are very excited because this has been a very lackluster bull market for Ethereum up to this point, right? And it's just so let's talk about this for a second. If this happens, again, it's an if. So if you missed the first part of the show, we were talking about the approval odds of an Ethereum ETF going up. This is according to Bloomberg. They're seeing stuff happen in the background, right? They're seeing papers being filed. They're seeing issuers giving positive sentiments, and this is kind of breaking as of the afternoon of May 20th. But if this happens, David, I want to ask you, do we just do something similar to Bitcoin pricing in its ETF approval? And I feel like that started happening, would you say, around
October 2023?
October 2023 is a good time. I was going to say September, October 2023, because that was when the Grayscale case was pretty won definitively in Bitcoin's favor. But like that time zone,
I think October 2022 was when it was announced that Grayscale had filed. And then it took the market like 6 months to really absorb what that meant. And then it was November of 2023, about a year later, when that actually got approved.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was like the 6 months leading up to that approval with a slow crescendo of price action.
They started getting priced in around this area right here. And like then we saw just like this steady march upwards of Bitcoin price. I think that Ethereum will do this and more. Because it'll be an amplifier effect because
we've already done
smaller market cap, of course, but also Ethereum had like higher regulatory risk. Right. That Gensler was always cagey. The SEC was always cagey about whether ETH is a security or not. And so it had this perceived regulatory risk. And so institutional investors who wanted access to crypto, right, they had no ability to buy crypto aside from Bitcoin. And if all of this is wiped away, I think Ethereum has like a bigger runway. It's going to be an amplifier of what happened to Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think you have Jake Chervisnky's tweet somewhere towards the end there, and he just echoes this same sentiment. He says, if the spot ETH ETF is approved, it will be a true shock to everyone I know in DC who's close to this process. It means approval could shift a major shift in U.S. crypto policy after the SAB 121 vote, perhaps more important than the ETF itself. And so sentiment shift in the Capitol Hill about Ethereum, ETH the asset, about like securities versus commodities, about like there's less political like foundation for everything as a security, because like now we have like the top two assets not a security.
Yeah, I wonder if this puts an end to sort of the extreme regulatory headwinds that we've been facing for the last basically 18 months to 2 years, right?
It really sucks the wind out of those sails. Yeah,
the anti-crypto army. Like this feels to me like it's more than just Ethereum ETF being approved, as Jake is saying. This is like a shift in DC, and it's basically Democratic establishment saying, "Hey, being anti-crypto,
we don't want to fight that fight.
It's not going to win, like Biden, the presidential election." And so, like maybe they start leaning into being pro-crypto. I think that's a marker of that too, and which means we might get the headwinds in our favor for some brief period of time. Right? We've never had that.
What we learned from the consensus interview with Joe Lubin and Matt, the lawyer, is that there is a back room, like smoke-filled room of people who do not want the ETH ETF approved because they're trying to suppress Ethereum. They're not concerned with Bitcoin because Bitcoin doesn't have smart contracts. It doesn't have a banking layer. It doesn't offend the banks. It doesn't offend the Clinton types that want the control. These were like Joe Lubin's words. And so like the political establishment, the Democrats, have shifted the weight away from like, okay, we understand that our like these people don't want the power of Ethereum to be unleashed, but we also want to get reelected. And so this is the reelecting emphasis taking precedent over whatever powers that may be that are pushing behind the scenes for the Gary Gensler SEC to disapprove this spot ETF. This is why Gary Gensler was always resistant to saying, is ETH a security or is it not? He would very clearly said that Bitcoin is not a security. He very clearly was extremely ambiguous around ETH as a security or a commodity, because he could not claim that ETH was a security because he wasn't ready for it, but he couldn't claim it was a commodity because they didn't want that. Now, all of that precedent is like being wiped away from them, which was the foundation that he was standing on to claim that all tokens are securities. So like so much of the entire argument foundation of the SEC is now gone, again, if the ETF gets approved.
David, are you looking at this tweet here? This is Bill Hughes. Elizabeth Warren making phone calls right now. I don't care that he's in a meeting. I want him on the phone now. Anti-crypto army in shambles. I want to go back to a Mike Ippolito take. He says, this feels like the bottom sentiment in ETH sentiment. He posted this on May 18th. Just the backdrop to this, because we didn't talk about it enough, I don't think. ETH sentiment to me was at sort of like a cycle low in the last couple of weeks.
Months.
It's had paltry performance in the bull market. Bitcoin has overperformed. Other alternative layer ones have like overperformed. So Solana's been crushing it. ETH really just like hasn't kept up. And so the market sentiment is basically like, why buy ETH? Right? Like Solana and these alternative layer ones are lower market cap and are appreciating faster. They have the meme coins. And then you have Bitcoin, which has institutional demand. So Ethereum is like stuck in this middle. And so this caused not only like the anti-ETH like sentiment on Twitter, but like even the bulls are starting to get shaky, right? And this was a talk in the Ethereum community about changing the narrative and like, what do we do and who's defending the narrative? And so this is Mike Ippolito on the 18th saying, this feels like the cycle bottom in ETH sentiment. First time in a long time, ETH isn't consensus. Yeah, it lost consensus, didn't it? None of the arguments on my timeline feel that meaningful. It's mostly bickering or airing old grievances. ETH will send in a few months when everyone remembers the ETF. I think the market is about to start remembering the ETF.
Yeah, that's currently priced in or getting priced in, but also really, like I said, really slowly. ETH is up 11.7% on the 1 day. Solana's up 9%. So like ETH is actually only up 2.5% versus Solana, but also like all the long tail of crypto assets should definitely get a boon from this because of the regulatory green light that this is giving the collective industry. So like even Bitcoin is up 5% on the 1 day. Just because like this is not just bullish for ETH, this is bullish for the crypto industry. Like anyone with any sort of crypto asset exposure should be very happy about this.
Yeah, and so do you recall some of the numbers we went through with the I feel like some of these numbers slowed with like how big the capital pipe is from Bitcoin, institutional like purchasing of Bitcoin from all of the RIAs. And I mean, we're talking about like trillions of dollars. How big is the Bitcoin ETF market right now? It's like
I'm actually looking it up right now.
Yeah, look that up, because I think we're in the like the 30 to 50 billion dollar market cap, something like that. And like to catch gold, if I recall,
I figure it out.
Okay. Well, these are just numbers off the top of my head, but it feels like we're in the 30 to 50 billion range in terms of Bitcoin ETF, and it's been the like the most bullish performing ETF in history. I feel like to catch gold, it was something like 90 billion to catch gold's numbers. And so you sort of wonder what Ethereum will do after this. It's got some narrative headwinds, I think, for institutions.
What did you say? How many billions?
I said 30 to 50. How wrong was I?
12 billion.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm a little ahead of myself.
Interestingly, in the last 2 weeks, we've been at some sort of like market milieu, small market like quiet period, some doldrums, some crabbing in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months or so. We are entering second week in a row this week of inbound ETF Bitcoin flows. And so Bitcoin, the actual flows are going into Bitcoin once again after being kind of like at equilibrium on pause for like the past 2 or 3 months.
Okay, so we've got some like positive strength there. And so can we talk about the institutional narrative for Ethereum, David? So I think it's a little bit different than Bitcoin. So
Very
We've
much so.
got productive asset.
Mm-hmm.
These ETFs, to the extent they get approved, they will not be staked ETFs. They'll just be
Correct.
plain vanilla ETH, right? But you still have the narrative of this is a positive yield bearing asset, right? Once ETH is staked. I think that's important. I think, institutions have talked about tokenization. Ethereum is really the ecosystem that pioneered tokenization.
Right.
So you got the BlackRock.
All those tokens that you know about, all those NFTs that you know about, those are on Ethereum.
Right. Even the BlackRock Biddle Fund, which is pretty major, which is like, I don't know, up to like 400
It's a huge deal.
million, something like this,
Uh-huh.
close to $500 million in T-bills. That is on Ethereum as well. So that is kind of like complementary. So I think you've got the internet bond narrative. You've got the productive yield-bearing asset narrative. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull this up. Coinbase put
I think
together
those
a
are
really
all
good
great
report.
narratives. I think the biggest narrative is the one that Sandy Kuhl from Franklin Templeton was talking to us about how
What's that?
Ethereum is a tech platform. So if you want to own real estate in the same way that like you're kind of familiar with by owning Facebook shares or owning Twitter shares, Ethereum is that. It is a platform for people to build on, and the value of Ether grows as this open platform gets built. And so like Bitcoin is like the digital gold play and digital store of value, but Ethereum is a tech platform. And like mapping Ether, the asset, into a financial institution's like tech category makes a lot of sense and definitely resonates. That's what she was saying.
Yeah, I think that's right, and I think that's a different like valuation. Although we would also argue Ethereum Ether has similar monetary properties as Bitcoin, of course,
Right.
and like should be and could be viewed as a store of value as well. So I think that's going to be exciting to watch institutions kind of price that in. I guess there is maybe the bear case here that like the institutions don't care about Ethereum at all, right? It's kind of like the opening act. This is what Eric Balchunas has said in the past. Like, and this, to be fair, this is the Ethereum futures markets. There is an Ethereum like, kind of like futures based ETF out there, and its performance has been pretty paltry compared to Bitcoin.
Yeah, but compared to Bitcoin's futures,
Yes.
yeah, like I don't expect the ETH ETFs to be bigger than Bitcoin, certainly. But the thing is like $1 of capital into an ETH ETF means something like 3x more than $1 into a Bitcoin ETF because ETH is 1/3 the size of the market cap of Bitcoin. And so like it just simply moves the market cap more. And that's also just not even controlling for the amount of Bitcoin liquidity on centralized exchanges, of which Ether has much less liquidity on centralized exchanges because there's a lot of demand to pull in Ether into DeFi and pull it away from centralized exchanges. So Ether price discovery happens on Coinbase. The ETH ETF price, whenever there's a buyer of the ETH ETF, that buying pressure will go through Coinbase because they're the custodian. And that will actually move way more than it moved the Bitcoin ETF because there's just simply much less liquidity of Ether on Coinbase. And so like $1 of capital into ETH ETF means a lot more.
You know what's crazy is the ETHE still has a 20% discount.
Every single crypto fund right now is like looking at how to buy ETHE. And I know that because we are thinking about that at Bankless Ventures.
We should have already done.
We should have already done that.
We should get off this live stream and like
go buy
right
ETHE.
So ETHE, of course, is the Grayscale Ethereum Trust,
which will become an ETH ETF,
which would
and
basically
that gap will just smush.
Yeah, it would automatically become a
Right.
Bitcoin ETF, and like I think it's a 20% discount. You could still buy ETHE at like 20% discount. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy that exists as well.
It's also cool to watch the Coinbase stock price also pump on this news as well. Again, this is probably Coinbase will be the custodian for the ETH ETF, but mainly it's just like the regulatory risk of the industry is like pumping everything. Coinbase is up like 12%, 8% on the day today. There's a new tweet from James. Okay, cool. You've got it pulled up. So James tweeted this out a few minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. Quick note. Eric Balchunas and I increased the odds to 75% for the ETH ETF approvals, but that's for the May 23rd deadline, Van Eck. We also need S1 approvals. It could be weeks to months before we see S1 approvals and therefore a live ETH ETF. And so we could get it approved, but the actual launch will be later. Do I care about that? Do I care about that time discrepancy? No. because this is like the Cointelegraph intern like accidentally false starting the Bitcoin ETF. Like it doesn't matter. Like once the market has assurances that it will get approved, people will bid. Like we saw trad hedge funds front running the actual Bitcoin ETF launch who don't care about Bitcoin. They just like, well, this is bullish, so they're going to buy Bitcoin. A lot of the Bitcoin price appreciation came from outside capital who were just front running the actual approvals.
So this is different than how it happened with the Bitcoin ETF though, right? Because Bitcoin ETF was approved and then basically days later we had open like Bitcoin ETFs that you could purchase.
Correct.
So this would be a little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
And I guess that's just because of the, scheduling. So the May 23rd was just Van X deadline.
Oh, okay. I'm sending you another tweet. You need to open up this tweet. I'm sending it to you in the doc. I'm highlighting it. Tier 10K. This is bullish. I love all the bullish stuff. Okay, this is tier 10K. SEC asks exchanges to update full filings on an accelerated basis for spot Ether ETFs.
Yes.
Eric, you got to pump those numbers up, baby. 75% too low.
Whoa, 75% is too bearish. Well, let's look at the price here. There we go.
Oh my God, that is a confirmation.
3,500.
That is a confirmation.
Thanks to Kraken for the charts.
Thanks Kraken for the charts. I knew you guys could make them go green.
Oh man, that is huge. So the SEC asks exchanges to update 19B4 filings on accelerated basis for spot Ether ETFs. Do you fully know what this means? Why are they?
Yeah, it means Gary Gensler got a phone call from Daddy Biden.
Why didn't they call sooner?
Dude, because 1,200 likes on a 4-minute-old tweet. That's great.
Oh, let me send that one. Did you send it? Do your part. Do your part, David.
Oh, okay. I'll retweet that.
I think being noisy on Twitter actually helps. Let's take from political lobbyists who I've been talking to over the weekend to just like see what's going on in DC. And they were basically like, look, political DC, they live on Twitter. They're just, you're addicted. You think you're crypto native and you're addicted to like Twitter or whatever the social. They're like, so are they, because that's where media is like kind of born. So they actually hear us on Twitter. It's a way of influencing the platform. And so I think they are very much paying attention to, and I guess I would say, how it feels that we have been so powerless the last 2-3 years in political like crypto, like the politicians aren't listening to us. This is the first time I've really felt like our voice has actually carried weight in DC. And we are like maxing that. So you're retweeting, you're like the stuff that you're doing, going to in-person political events and asking politicians on stage, just being like, what's your crypto policy? Did you support SAB 121 repeal? Like, if not, why? Like, and all the while knowing whether this is supported or not, right? And like record that, post it on Twitter. That's how we amplify and make our voice heard. And I think it's working.
Can you open up the other tweet that I posted in our doc? This is the ETHE price. ETHE price is up.
Is it closing?
It's closing. Yeah, it's up 24% in the last day today.
Wow. It's closing, but it's still like
I don't know what the actual. I don't know what the discount is.
This is like paywalling me, but it still looks like maybe 20% premium to NAV. Although whether this is
yeah, that's a good question. I don't know what the discount is.
Man, okay.
Somebody in the Bankless Discord or Daily Gwei Discord knows what the discount is. Let me know.
This is crazy.
This is awesome. That's a great William Peaster meme. I don't get it, but sure. It does look like him. Yeah. You want to do some TA? You want to open up the TA charts?
Yeah, of course. On days like this, I do. Only days like this, though.
This is not my TA, nor is it Ryan's TA. This is a person who does TA that Ryan and I both trust.
Right here. What is this? Yeah. What are these lines?
So these lines are monthly and yearly resistances. And then this is the ETH Giga candle that we're currently watching.
This is ETH in dollars.
ETH in dollars, this is missing $100 off of the candle because the screenshot is like 15 minutes old because we were still pumping. So we've broken through 2 monthly resistances. There's this big descending triangle, which like everyone who I know who does TA on ETH was like, this looks like shit. This looks like shit. This looks like shit.
Oh no, sell. Yeah, it's going down.
Sentiment is like so dog shit, like descending wedge, like it's bad,
ETH
like all these TA terms, like this. The chart looks like dog shit, and then we get this news, and we just like blast through it. And so we are somewhere between the last monthly resistance, the second of the 2 monthly resistances that's been like highlighted here. We're somewhere between that and the yearly resistance. Like,
what's it going to take to get to yearly? 3,600 or 3,700?
fuck yearly, dude. Like, if the ETH ETF gets approved, like the ETH price should be multiples of its all-time high, because the price is going to be so sensitive to outside capital. Like,
Yeah,
look beyond 5K in the first half of this year. Well, no, the ETH actually has to get approved. Once the ETH ETF gets approved and then it's live and like there's bids coming in, like we're looking beyond 5K.
Yeah, I think people don't realize, like, people don't realize how uni-centered the institutional world has been on crypto. It's just basically just Bitcoin. Everything else has some regulatory like haze over it. And once the Ethereum ETF approval happens, then you've got a second asset in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be a while before there's a third crypto ETF or a fourth crypto ETF or a fifth crypto ETF.
Because each one has to be evaluated on its merits. And so like just because the big brother and the 2 big brother coins get approved doesn't mean like all the long tail gets approved.
Right, and you have to
open up appetite for them, but like each one has to go through its own hurdles, starting with a futures ETF.
Futures, that's what I was going to say.
Have.
Right. So and Ethereum got that back in, was it like sometime in fall of last year, I believe, something like this, right?
Yeah, over a year ago.
Right. So it takes about a year. You have to get like a futures ETF, and then it has to go through the gauntlet. So chances are it's going to be Bitcoin and Ethereum as sort of the ETFs for this cycle. Now, I will say that doesn't mean down market doesn't benefit. I totally, and we're seeing it already today. Down market crypto assets that don't have ETFs are going to benefit as well. Like Solana will pump, all of these other like chains and crypto assets will pump as well, because it's not that hard to go find your way to the Kraken exchange and go purchase a down market.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it in your 401k, but you certainly can in a US based, crypto exchange. So everything will benefit from this, but disproportionately Bitcoin and Ethereum will have the institutional flows.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Being able to buy it.
The Bitcoin TA too, because like this is just like concerning the entire market. Like the McDonald's ads is so funny, dude. We
don't need McDonald's anymore, man.
we're 10K. We get the guac on our Chipotle back. Okay. The descending channel, which is what we're looking at, which apparently is what this is called. We're breaking through that too. And so like this could be the start of a new phase in the market. Well, actually, it probably is. Unless like May 23rd happens and this is all a fluke and we get denied, which I'm not
25% chance.
I'm not entertaining that idea.
Let's go look. I mean, that was last week's idea. Let's go see what Polymarket says now. I mean, like 66% chance
with that new news, because like, okay, so the Bloomberg boys updated it to 75% with the words that they've been hearing, but then that new tier 10K tweet came out saying the SEC has asked exchanges on an accelerated timeline. So to me, that's like 75% is now low, because that's new information, unless that is the information, but I think that's new.
Let me just entertain this for a second. This is
I'm ready for
this is an Ethereum ETF bull episode. Okay. What happens if after all of this
it gets denied?
It not only gets denied, but Gensler comes out and says Ethereum's a security.
Like, and we just resume the previous course that we were on? I don't know.
That would also be crypto.
Somebody gets sued.
That would also, yeah, I know, but like that would also be something that could happen in this crazy universe that we're in.
Yeah, all possibilities are possible, I guess. Yeah,
I don't want to entertain that though right now. Like, I feel like things are moving in our favor for sure.
Okay, so yeah, like I think that this does unlock again, aside from the very bearish scenario that Ryan for some reason just decided to articulate. This is a new phase of the market. Like we were all like the last like 2-3 months of like flat, like grinding, like everyone being unhappy for some reason. Like that's over. Like we're entering a new phase of the market of positive sentiment.
Yeah, and I think we'll have that until the election. Basically, I think that politicians are now in a mood to do us favors until until the votes are counted in November.
Oh, it turns out the crypto bros are actually like a force to reckon with, and they
want money, they want votes. There's no benefit to them being anti-crypto. I think we've broken the back of the anti-crypto army, at least until after November. Okay, we have not defeated the final boss. They're going to come back once the votes and money don't matter so much in their campaigns. They're going to be back, but until then, I think we have momentum on our side. And if the Ethereum ETF passes, it's because of political pressure.
It is because of political pressure.
And Gary Gensler. That's why.
Which came from us. That was us. Like the reason why there's political pressure, it didn't start with Biden. It started with the crypto community pressuring the Biden administration, who pressured Gary Gensler. That was us. We did that as a community. So like,
that's right.
Take note that like, this is what we can do when we have collective action towards a shared goal.
Yes.
So don't be nihilist about your ability to influence politics.
I hope this shakes people out of
our bags.
That's right. I hope this shakes people out of this helplessness, like feeling that you feel with respect to politics. I was listening to a podcast this morning that it was basically like percentage of U.S. population that are millennials is like 25%. Yeah. Baby boomers are 20%. Like we outnumber them.
Yeah.
In sheer like voting block.
We're bigger than them.
It's stupid. Why don't we let our voice be heard? Let the issues we care about, as you mentioned earlier, this skews very much like old versus young in terms of Congress. Like congressional representatives who were, Gen X and younger voted overwhelmingly, regardless, Republican or Democrat, they voted overwhelmingly in favor of the SAB 121 repeal. Yeah. They'll continue to vote with us.
Speaking of the SAB 121 repeal, I think Biden has 7 days to veto that.
Well, he had 10 days when it was approved. So I guess like
that was on Thursday of last week.
Yeah.
So it's going also to be like up to Monday of next week.
Yeah.
But like if this is indeed the calculus of the Biden administration saying we need the crypto army, he has to why wouldn't he just veto it?
Well, I don't know. He could still, so he might be horse trading here. I'm going to veto your SAB thing, but I'm gonna give you the Ethereum ETF, right? It's a possibility. Or he could go full send and be like, I'm not letting Trump.
Sorry, I was wrong. I'm vetoing it. Like, yeah, if he's actually doing it to make sure that
I'm not vetoing it. We want him not to veto it.
I'm not vetoing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if that is indeed the calculus, wouldn't we see him not veto the SAB 121?
I mean, a full Democratic Party, like all in White House and everything, like anti-crypto armies just kind of eliminated, would mean we get no veto on the SAB 121, which would be,
but it would be a loud no veto. Like the Biden administration would say, "Hey, I'm not going to veto this." Also,
yes,
I'm sorry.
You won't say I'm sorry, but it's something like that. You have to interpret that piece of it if you want, and it will also be Ethereum ETF approval, full send. So that would happen, right? And he'd be like, yeah, our appointee, Gary Gensler, is approving the Ethereum ETF, right? Yeah. And Gary Gensler would be like, I was always going to approve this.
This is a part of the process. This is just,
you just had to come in and register. And now you checked all my boxes. Of course I was going to approve this the whole time. That's what he'll say. And then, which will be great. And then there would also be some strong approval. Maybe it won't pass like Congress and get, approved through Biden's desk, but this FIT Act that Patrick McHenry was talking about,
right?
We would see some strong support on that, whether or not it's approved. And the FIT Act, like you can find more about that in the episode that we're putting out tomorrow, but is basically defines the difference between a security and commodity, and basically SEC has securities, CFTC has commodities. And by the way, in this bill, Ethereum is very much
Ethereum and
decentralized enough,
like it.
To be a commodity in this bill. So it would also take care of this. So you'd see thumbs up on that as well.
Totally. Okay, so we recorded that episode with Patrick McHenry this morning. That'll probably come out today or tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. We're going to get the ETF boys on the show as soon as we can.
Are they responding to our DMs yet?
No, not yet. Like they need to go and do their jobs at Bloomberg. And once they're done doing their jobs at Bloomberg, we're going to get them on the show. So also stay tuned for that. So if you're watching the live stream right now, make sure you're actually subscribed to Bankless so you can see those interviews when they come out. One will be coming out in the next 24 hours. We're going to get the ETF boys on the show as soon as possible. So just like the live stream because we're bullish and we're feeling good. Subscribe to Bankless so you guys can get those videos and stay tuned for all the ETF news because this is now an ETH ETF media company.
Wow.
the
Yeah.
time
For
being.
at least until May 23rd, when Gary Gensler eats crow and approves the
Approves the
Ethereum
Ethereum ETF.
Not 100%,
Uh-huh.
75% chances for that. But yeah, very exciting.
One last tweet. I do want to shout out Anthony Sassano, who relentlessly never blinked and has always said that the ETH ETF will get approved on May 23rd. And so he's currently on a Twitter break just because, everyone needs to take a step back. But like, I can't wait for him to come back and just like take a victory lap around all of crypto Twitter and everyone. Like, I'm usually kind of resistant to Anthony Sassano victory laps, but this one is like the most deserved victory lap that I will have ever seen Anthony take. So
yeah, especially because he was taking a mental health break.
Yeah. So like, not trying to jinx anything here. Like, it still has to get approved. Like, we still don't know what's going on. We only have limited information here. But things, the tide is turning.
There you go. The tide has turned. Guys, we'll keep you updated. You will know what we know as soon as we know it. Hope you enjoyed this Bankless live stream edition. Oh, man. It's
been a while since we've done a live stream, an emergency live stream.
We're going to party hard on Thursday if this happens. All right, guys. See you later.
Odds of David Hoffman beating his fight with Nick Carter also up.
Last thing. Let's just check the Polymarket for that. Where's Polymarket?
For some reason, that Polymarket is not looking good. David is very, very undervalued by the market.
Oh, down bad, David.
Down bad, yeah.
Man, this is some market manipulation, I think. This can't be true. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Bye. New projects are coming online to the MANTLE Layer 2 every single week. Why is this happening? Maybe it's because MANTLE has been on the frontier of Layer 2 design architecture since it first started building MANTLE DA, powered by technology from EigenDA. Maybe it's because users are coming onto the MANTLE Layer 2 to capture some of the highest yields available in DeFi, and to automatically receive the points and tokens being accrued by the $3 billion MANTLE treasury in the MANTLE reward station. Maybe it's because the MANTLE team is one of the most helpful teams to build with, giving you grants, liquidity support, and venture partners to help bootstrap your MANTLE application. Maybe it's all of these reasons all put together. So if you're a dev and you want to build on one of the best foundations in crypto, or you're a user looking to claim some ownership on MANTLE's DeFi apps, click the link in the show notes to getting started with MANTLE. CELO is the mobile-first EVM-compatible carbon-negative blockchain built for the real world, driving real-world use cases like mobile payments and mobile DeFi. And with Opera MiniPay as one of the fastest-growing Web3 wallets, CELO is seeing a meteoric rise with over 300 million transactions and 1.5 million monthly active addresses. And now, CELO is looking to come home to Ethereum as a Layer 2. Optimism, Polygon, Matter Labs, and Arbitrum have all thrown their hats in the ring for the CELO Layer 2 to build upon their stacks. Why the competition? The CELO Layer 2 will bring huge advantages like a decentralized sequencer, off-chain data availability secured by Ethereum validators, and one-block finality. What does that all mean for you? With CELO Layer 2, gas fees will stay low, and you can even pay for gas natively using ERC20 tokens, sending crypto to phone numbers across wallets using Social Connect. But CELO is a community-governed protocol. This means that CELO needs you to weigh in and make your voice heard. Join the conversation in the CELO forums. Follow CELO on Twitter and visit celo.org to shape the future of Ethereum. ARBITRUM is the leading Ethereum scaling solution that is home to hundreds of decentralized applications. ARBITRUM's technology allows you to interact with Ethereum at scale with low fees and faster transactions. ARBITRUM has the leading DeFi ecosystem, strong infrastructure options, flourishing NFTs, and is quickly becoming the Web3 gaming hub. Explore the ecosystem at portal.arbitrum.io. Are you looking to permissionlessly launch your own Arbitrum Orbit chain? Arbitrum Orbit allows anyone to utilize Arbitrum's secure scaling technology to build your own Orbit chain, giving you access to interoperable, customizable permissions with dedicated throughput. Whether you are a developer, an enterprise, or a user, Arbitrum Orbit lets you take your project to new heights. All of these technologies leverage the security and decentralization of Ethereum. Experience Web3 development the way it was always meant to be: secure, fast, cheap, and friction-free. Visit arbitrum.io and get your journey started in one of the largest Ethereum communities.